So, I was noodling around on the piano one day at the studio and came up with this really, really simple melody. And again, it was one of these moments where I thought, hey, this may be just a really boring little melody, or it might actually have something that might be worth using at some point. So, started to think about some text that would go along with it. And what came out of it was the song called "The Coming Home." And again, I thought maybe it would just be a great little piece with piano and voice. And as you'll hear clearly, right at the very beginning, there's this fantastic penny whistle. And that was Billy's idea. He said, what if we were to get something in here that makes us a much more cinematic feel to this song? And so The Coming Home now has this phenomenal, just really cool opening intro with these distant field drums sort of marking cadence, and then you hear the penny whistle coming over with this really haunting melody, which then of course is the melody that I sing. From a text perspective, I've often loved, there's a great Bible verse that talks about basically at the end of our life, the idea of having done well. Well done, my good and faithful servant. And so I wanted to sort of articulate a song that talked not about that phrase specifically, but this idea of that when we arrive home, there's a sense of just peace. At the end of any number of things, there's a sense of peace. When you come home from a journey and you come back into the loving arms of your family, there can be a peace. And so there are a number of moments throughout life where that returning symbolizes this return to peace and this return to comfort and to joy. And so while it's actually quite a quiet song, I love the way the melody just sort of keeps moving along, and then it talks about our achievements, our failures in life, and yet at the end of all of that, there will be this coming home. So to me, again, it's just the way that the lyrics came together. I wasn't sure we had it on the schedule to record the vocals that day. On the way to the studio, driving across from Franklin, Tennessee, out to the Dark Horse Studios, I had no idea what the lyrics were going to be. And I usually am the one that writes most of the lyrics, and didn't know what we were going to sing, what I was going to sing. And as I went from one stoplight to the next, suddenly these words came, and I pulled over, grabbed my pen, and I scribbled, and I was running late, so I drove a little farther, and I pulled over, and I scribbled another verse, and by the end of it, by the time we arrived there, we had most of the text for the song. And again, I'm a big believer that the inspiration that creates music is not of man. The inspiration that creates music is of God. I know a lot of people don't believe in God. I know there's a lot of people that don't believe there is anything dictating our fate. But I will tell you that for me, having written songs and as I continue to write, these are not things I can simply conjure up in my own mind. These are things that I think God places in our mind. And even if artists don't believe, I believe that the inspiration that comes is a direct reflection of our being created in the image of an almighty and all-creative God. So for me, that is most manifest in songs like The Coming Home, where it was just sort of a pass-through tool being used in some way. That sounds really weird, but that's really how I felt. It was just, felt like it was a wonderful thing to just write down and be a part of it, sort of as a bystander almost. So that was The Coming Home.